here's
Hi,
Mary Elizabeth. Hey,
Kristen.
Mary
Nice to
Elizabeth.
see you.
Hi, Mary Elizabeth. Hi.
So I'm just going to go over how this is going to go. We're going to have just like a little bit of an interview just to kind of learn more about Mary Elizabeth and her gifts and how she came about them. And during that time, I'm going to invite you all to mute. And if you don't know how to, I can mute for you. And then what she's going to do is do a group reading. And at that time, she really just needs concentration and to focus. So we really want to hold any questions until after that. After the question and answer period, or I should say once she's channeling, she just really needs that focus. So we need to maintain quiet for her. And then after that, she's going to open up and we'll have, you know, old school like in school, we'll have you raise a hand if you would like to see if her guides have any messages for you. And one at a time, I will call on you guys and she'll see what they have to say. Sound good? Good? All right. So with that, Mary Elizabeth, I wanted to ask you, is how long have you been channeling? How did you get started? What was the kind of catalyst on becoming an intuitive?
That's a good question. A couple stories come to mind, so I'll tell you one of them. I'll share one of them. You know how the memory kind of fogs? It's been since about 2010. You can hear me okay? Yeah? Okay, good.
Yeah.
At that time, I remember my sister, she was actually making an urn for somebody who had passed away. It was one of her clients. And she sent me pictures in an email of this urn. She does beach glass jewelry at the time. And so she was putting the beach glass around the urn. And so she sent me these pictures. And as I'm looking at the pictures online, I just all of a sudden received these thoughts. And I had no idea it had never happened before. But I knew clearly it was something else speaking to me, so to speak. And so what I ended up doing was I thought, let me just, I was in front of my computer, open up an email and I started typing it up and I sent it off to my sister and I said, I just received a very clear message. I believe it was from the person who passed. And if you would like to share that with her, you know, her family, please do. And it ended up that she did share it with the family and it was a message that they very needed to hear. And they were overjoyed and relieved, and that kind of got my journey started.
So what time of life would you say that was? That was how long ago would you say? 2010, you said?
About 10 years ago, I would say it started happening. And then it was, you know, I had a couple of experiences very similar to that. I was one day sitting in front of my desk and I had a bulletin board on the side. It was an armoire and I had it open and all of a sudden a prayer card, which was thumbtacked in, by the way. So how this happened, I'll never know. And it just fell to the floor. And so I reached down to pick it up and it was one of my cousins. And she was, needless to say, overjoyed to hear from her husband because she had just said to him in her own thoughts, you know, if you could come to me, please come to me through somebody. I want to know that you're okay. And so it just worked out. It was a perfect marriage that I was available as a conduit at that point in time.
Beautiful.
And yeah, so it was kind of sporadic. It would happen on its own. I never really knew when it would happen, but I was always open to the experience. And then what occurred was my goddaughter actually said to me one day, Aunt Mary Elizabeth, can you do that thing you do? And I was like, what thing do I do? And she said, you know, when you get messages. And I'm like, yeah, I never really asked, you know, to do it on a spot like this, but let's give it a try. So I did. And sure enough, I immediately received the messages. And so then from there, after that, I really started to hone into the experience. I think it's like anything else that we do. You really have to get very comfortable with something. You have to, for lack of better words, practice it, but you have to keep being open to the experience. And the more you're open to the experience and have it flow through you, the more natural it becomes.
And would you have, I know there's a couple people I've talked to that might be interested or be feeling these kind of like intuitive, I don't know if urgings is the right word, but developments. If you had anything to offer anybody to suggest to them on how to hone that gift, to practice, could you give any suggestions on how you would, I guess, develop that gift or make space for its unfolding?
Right. So I would think, thinking back, the biggest for me that really helped me a lot with this clarity is just to accept it as a gift and not to second guess it or question it. Because initially when it started happening, you're not really sure, especially when I was reading friends of mine. Because needless to say, I have a past story with friends of mine. And so I was thinking, is that me thinking that? Or is that really coming from somewhere else? Is this really guidance from beyond? So I just trusting in the process and just allowing it to keep happening. I think the more you let it happen, and it seems almost, I don't know, organic. It just occurs now. All I need to do is think, and they're there.
So that's beautiful. So just kind of trust, like most things, trust and practice that trusting, I guess, right?
Yes, exactly. And I see my friend Margaret's on the call here. So what had occurred was at that point when I was thinking, I really want to test this a little bit. I said to my best friend, do you have anybody who might like to have a reading? And so she sent me a couple people. I did them over the phone. And of course, when you get feedback from clients and people will say to you, oh, yes, oh, I know that. Yes, I've had that experience. Oh, yes, you must be talking about. The more feedback you get, the more encouraged you are that you are bringing messages that otherwise you wouldn't have known this information.
Right. So some people say it's kind of like tuning into the collective consciousness, like all the memories of everything we've ever had. And we're able to, if you have practiced that ability of opening up into your intuition, that you're able to kind of connect with other thoughts and other beings. And so how would you describe, I know some people say psychic, some people say medium. Can you tell us what you consider yourself, why you call your intuitive, and what each might mean for you?
Sure, I'd love to. So actually, Margaret and I, again, we had gone up to Omega last October, and I was able to join in a workshop by James von Prague. And his workshop was advanced intuitive training. So it was really there that I got more clarity and specificity around the word medium versus intuitive. So intuitive / psychic are really one and the same. The way he explained it to us is that it's kind of different vibrations. You know, people that are souls and passed on are coming at one energy or vibration. I guess energy would be a good way to say it. And if you're able to elevate yourself to that vibration to connect with them, you're able to, quote unquote, read them and receive thoughts from them. So it's just very dependent. I've found that I've been really blessed that I have the ability both to connect with spirit as a collective spirit guides, as well as being able just to reach a loved one that has passed. If somebody wants them to come in, I usually call them forward and then I just ask them questions.
And do you find that when you're asking questions, you can kind of guide and ask for specific things, or do your guides just, I mean, I know I've experienced your readings and they're amazing, but I'm asking, you know, for people who might be curious, do you ask specific things, or do they just kind of offer you what they feel like you need to hear?
Yeah, so as you just said, you've had this experience with me, and Kristen and I have bartered quite a bit, and I'll do a reading for her, and then she'll do the emotion code for me, which, by the way, P.S. and by the way, is absolutely wonderful if you haven't had that experience with her. But what happens is initially it'll just be more of a general. They'll tell me a little bit about past, present, and future activities. And you know, my guides can be very, very specific. So I can go on for quite a while. So sometimes I'll have to say to them, hold up a little bit. And then I'll ask the client, do you have any specific questions? And I then at that point, my guides are great. They answer me right away. I mean, there's no hesitation. Plus the fact that they're pretty emphatic. So if they're saying no to something, they usually send me a visual of a big round, you've all seen this, a big round sign, red on the outside with a big line through it saying stop or no. And, you know, I'll know right away what they're referring to. So, yep, they'll answer questions.
And on that topic, you're saying that you kind of established with them that, you know, / means no. Can you enlighten us to how maybe, like, was there an already established language or like symbology or something that your guides offered to you when they first introduced themselves? Or has that developed over time so that, like, when you do see signs and symbols, either in your mind's eye or in life, you know, outside, that, you know, how do you know if how did that become the no? And any other, you know, language you would have established with them, how did that develop?
I would have to say that's a really good question. And that specifically is one that I see often from them, but over and above that, they usually be images. So it could be various images. Now, oftentimes, because we do speak another language, right? I'm speaking with you in English, they're communicating through thoughts. So it's not really, I don't hear a voice. And I know, Kitty, you and I had spoken about this a little bit. It's not that we're hearing another voice, we're receiving thoughts. So right there, there's a difference, because as humans on this earthly plane, we don't communicate via thoughts, right? We communicate vocally. So right there, you have to train yourself to communicate in a different way. And so that's being open to the thoughts. Now, sometimes they're really clear on the thoughts they want to send me, but I might not be so clear on what the message is. So especially in terms of an image, sometimes they'll show me an image and I'll say, oh, that looks like a little, I'll just use an example, a fluffy dog I'm seeing right now. And okay, well, that's what it was that I meant to say. And they'll say, no, 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 I meant to say it's light and carefree, or something of that nature. So it can be symbolic. You're right. More than not, it's their way of just trying to give me symbols. And now it's my, then I try to interpret that. If I'm wrong, they tell me right away. And I know Margaret's had a reading. I know you too, Kristen. They can be really funny. They're like, oh no, you're absolutely wrong. And sometimes during the reading, you'll see that I just start laughing because, and then I'll share it with the client, because they'll definitely let me know when I'm off base.
They are pretty funny. It is funny to see those moments. You're like, no, 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 you didn't get that. Or like, yeah, the moments of laughter or levity that they bring in. It's because it can be a little serious. Like you're asking for guidance in this reading, and it feels like, you know, it's like energy, so it can feel not heavy but like intense sometimes. So sometimes those moments of comic relief from them are nice. But also very helpful because, you know, they're very clear. From my experience with Mary Elizabeth, they're very, very clear about, yes, you're right, no, you're not. Somebody just wrote in. So Lisa from Germany says, hello, my dear friend, Mary Elizabeth. So good to see you. I have a question for you. When you do a reading, does it happen that after a period of time, you get messages from the spiritual guides that refer to the person you did the reading for? And if so, what do you do? Would you contact that person to provide the additional message?
That's a great question. And actually that's happened with Kristen. And you and I have had this experience. It's very rare because usually when I'm done and I kind of close that communication with them, it's closed. But occasionally, like when I might get something wrong, meaning I might have misinterpreted what they said, or they really want to drive home a point, they will keep irking me. They'll keep coming to me and they'll keep saying, but I wanted you to say this and you said that, you weren't really clear. I wanted to clear up a point. And then occasionally, then what I'll do the next day is I'll send the person a text, or I'll pick up the phone and call and say, you know what, I keep getting this message for you. I needed to expand on that or to clarify something, so let me do that for you. So occasionally that will happen, but I will always contact the client and let them know. I've also read for Lisa too. So Lisa is a colleague, as you saw, she's from Germany. So thank you for joining on. That's so sweet of you to come all the way across the ocean like this to us today. But what the other thing I'd like to always emphasize with people is that I'll backtrack a little bit. I had initially gone to a mentor. So when this first started happening, of course, I was doubting and questioning myself, as I shared with you. Is this really me, or is it somebody else coming to me? And why me? Why now? I had loads of questions. What if I got bad news? How would I communicate that to somebody? I just had a myriad of questions, and my mentor really helped me with that. But the other thing I said to her is that oftentimes somebody will say to me, remember when you read that for me? Remember when you told me that in a reading? And I'll be like, I'm clueless. So she said what it's called it's actually called, you know, psychic amnesia. And I like that term because I like to really let people know that what we discuss is in confidence. It doesn't go any further, because oftentimes I don't even remember the specifics of the reading.
Yeah, I know my experience every time I've gotten a reading from Mary Elizabeth is that she records it or we record it. So it is good to go back over if you don't catch everything, you know, right there, to go back over it. And, you know, she does have that psychic amnesia, you have it there on the recording. And just to go back to that point you said just before, it's also happened in a reading where she expanded on something that the guides were just, they wouldn't leave her alone because they wanted to make sure the message goes through. And she's very diligent. When something comes up, she'll text or send a message saying, they said, make sure that you give them this part, or you didn't, you know, fully express this, make sure that they get that piece, because they really do want to help. They're here to help. And they found an open portal through Mary Elizabeth of this kind soul who's just looking to help people. And so they're like, okay, this is what we need you to tell them. So she's very diligent about that. If you ever sign up for a reading, it's a really beautiful experience. So yay. And Lisa says thank you, by the way. Thank you for that.
Okay, great. Good. And I just really want to emphasize to everyone, I really believe that everyone has this ability. I think we all do. And I think we get it in different ways, you know, by kind of being nudged during the course of a day. I remember it used to happen to me very subtly, like I'd be in the supermarket. I'm sure all of you can say I've had this experience. You're in the supermarket and you pass by a display and you really catch your eye on the hot chocolate. And you're like, oh my God, but no, you know, I don't, why am I looking at that hot chocolate like that? And then you go home and hours later, you know, one of your kids will come over and say, you know, I really wish we had hot chocolate, Mom. I mean, things like that would happen to me a lot. Like, and it seems ridiculous, but I think the more that you take notice of it, same way you've often heard people, I'm sure in your lifetime, describe in a scenario where they always go to work one particular direction, they always take the same route, but that day there's something was guiding them and nudging them along to take a different route, and only to find out on the news later on that day that the route they normally take, there was an accident. I mean, I'm sure each of you could share stories with me. So I know that we are always being divinely guided. I have no doubt about that. And I think just being open to those suggestions are really important.
Great advice. And that could be true to say about, you know, when we're looking to deepen our practice in yoga or meditation, or, you know, just life in general, there is so much help from the divine spirit, God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it, is always trying to communicate with us, right? To really support us. We're not alone. And sometimes our ego and wanting to protect us keeps us small, or it's like, no, I got it, right? We're all like, I got to figure it out. But if you can just learn to soften into that realm, into that world of help, I even say, like, you know, in chair yoga, to lean back into that wall, to kind of let go of the grabbing of your mind and just soften into that support. Over time, you'll start to get the like guidance, even if you're never going to become a professional intuitive like Mary Elizabeth, like just to have that intuitive guidance in your life, to know, do I go this way or that way on anything, is really helpful. And it makes you feel like supported and not alone, you know? So, so with that, I'm going to invite everyone to soften. I did a little preparation before we started just to invite like sacred energy into our space, but I'm going to invite you to participate here. Oh, there's one more message from Lisa. Oh, she says, it sure is a great experience working with you. That's what she meant. Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to invite you to soften into your chair, even lean back. Bring one hand to your heart and the other on top, and just tuck your chin, just to kind of surrender the ego mind, surrender the intelligence or the fighting of the mind, to just drop into your heart. Just taking a couple of breaths here. I'm always reminded by, you know, the late, great Maya Angelou said, anytime she was doing something challenging or going through something, she would invite all the people who were ever kind to her or loved her with her. So if you want to think of your kind of posse, your tribe of people who have ever been supportive of you, whether it's spirit guides, angels, actual teachers you've known, people, friends who have passed or are still here, just imagine them supporting. Imagine us all gathered here with our higher selves for the higher knowing of ourselves, for the highest healing of everyone here on the planet. And I'm just going to ask for everything that is offered here today to be received in the way that's meant to, for the highest healing of everyone here. I want to thank Mary Elizabeth and her guides for offering this time and these gifts. I'm going to invite you to just surrender into your heart space and see if you can listen from that place. Anything that is shared. so that you can receive it deeply within you and know that it is meant for your healing. We thank all entities, guides, and spirits that are here supporting today. And whenever you're ready, we say, and so it is. And when you're ready, you can blink open your eyes.
I always take lavender oil. It's, you know, simple lavender oil. And I always start this way and just rubbing it in my hands. But what I want you to do now, everyone, is just take a nice, slow, deep breath in through your nose. And as you're letting it out, I want you to think, let go, let go, let go. And just feel yourself sinking back against whatever it is you're sitting next to. Nice deep breath. Blow out, let go, let go, let go, and just sink and feel very carefree. Another deep breath. And let go, let go, let go, and feel like you're just sinking and you have no cares anymore and everything has just melted away. I normally keep my eyes closed, so I'm going to do that because I don't like any distractions when I connect with my spirit guides. And so they're all coming running in right now. They're really excited to be here with you today. They are very anxious and eager to tell you about what they're going to call as, now they're being funny already, so BC, which is before coronavirus, they're using the C word, you know, DC during coronavirus, and then AC after coronavirus. And they're saying it's very important to acknowledge, they want to acknowledge what we've been going through now. Gravely, they're kind of bowing to each of us and just kind of saying to just surrender to this experience if you possibly can. Needless to say, we can't resist it. It's occurring. It's kind of the imagery they're showing me now is like a big wave, and a wave is coming crashing down on the shoreline. There's nothing you can do, no matter how, if you want to hold your hands straight or you want to insist that the wave is going to go back and never come again, it's going to come again. So just to know that, just as a visual, we can do nothing about this wave of coronavirus coming over the entire globe, they're saying, as we know it's a global pandemic. And because of that, we should just ease in it, let that water kind of flow. If you want to keep doing that visual with them, they said just to kind of get into that space and connect with them right now. It's just to picture yourself as a little child, as a little girl sitting on the shoreline, and that wave is just coming in and just kind of going over your toes, and how exciting and happy and joyful you are for the new experience, and how you know that the Mother Earth is bathing you through the water. They want you to feel that way because they want you to feel secure. They want you to, again, not resist this experience. We really can't, but over and above that, to just really say, bathe in and ask, what it is can I learn from this experience? What can we learn collectively as a globe, as a society, but also as your family, and just keep bringing that circle in. So, okay, we'll start at the universe, environmentally, globally, and then into family, neighbors, workplace, they're showing me, as well as then into your community, your neighborhood, and then bringing it down into your actual home and your internal environment, and then just kind of sit with that. And know that this is a time when you can do just that. You can sit, you can press that, there's showing me a TV remote control, press that pause button. That's really important. We have now been put on pause. What a beautiful opportunity that is. Relish it, embrace it. Again, kind of going back to the not resisting it, but really just be absorbed in the light and the love that the divine has created for us, to give us this opportunity to really reconnect in places and things that we haven't reconnected with in a long time. It can be calling up an old friend that you haven't spoken to in a while. It could be actually taking pen to paper, which we very rarely do anymore, and writing a long handwritten note, like they're showing me several pages of a note, just kind of pouring your heart out to somebody. like they are giving me the big red X with like, forget the email even. Just try to do things that you kind of going back to your basics, going back to things that we learned and were comforting to us in childhood and early on in our life experience, and use those experiences now to do things you normally wouldn't have stopped to do. So the phone calls, the writing of the letters, and also just thinking of people that you really haven't, you've just kind of lost touch with. Things have happened. You know, workplaces have changed. Your friend circle has changed. Family connections have changed. You've lost bond with, they're showing me a distant cousin, a relative, those things. Just reach out and reconnect. And absolutely, with all assurity, they're saying that you will ignite in them a flame and a spark. They're using your word, Kristen, a spark, to just make somebody happy and joyous, and just be really comforted that you've reached out to them and thought about them. And they're just kind of bringing me back to something I often say, and that is, we're only a thought away from spirit, and we're only a thought away from each other. And if anything, the point that's really been driven home here is the fact that we all are so connected. Oh my God, we're connected globally. Look, they're saying we're connected right this moment in time with Lisa from Germany. We are connected, Margaret from Florida. We are all connected. We're connected globally through this mass pandemic that we've been going through. But the take-home message is here. We are always, always globally connected, regardless of a pandemic or not. We are always one. We're all intertwined as one. And because of that, and this divine entity that we always carry in our heart, and because of that connectiveness, you're hoping that after this is beyond, and we are at AC after coronavirus, and this is but a distant memory, we will remember that we can be connected with people by just thinking. It's really important to know that the telepathic messages that I'm receiving now and be able to communicate verbally to you can be done by you with other people as well. Have you ever had an experience, or saying, to use the example of the experience of when you keep thinking about somebody, thinking about somebody, thinking about somebody, and all of a sudden the phone rings and it's them, or a text comes through and it's them, and you're like, wow, I was just thinking about you for so long. We do this now. We don't even realize it. We don't articulate it. We don't stop to recognize the abilities that we have to connect each other on a broader scale. And this is giving us that opportunity to do so. So they'd like you to remember that. So now they're saying, they're putting up on a blackboard, which they often will, to make it very clear to me, they're saying why. People are asking, why do we have to go through this? Why? Because of the fact that we had gotten into such a perpetuated high speed, high pace, always doing, always being, always somewhere, always, you know, we just really just stop and just do exactly what we're doing now, is just sinking back in the chair, wherever we're sitting, and just relaxing, and just absolutely taking the moment of the pause. We did not allow ourselves to do it. We did not allow ourselves to do it personally, because we always have this motivation and this endeavor and a drive. And then also, you know, globally and spiritually as a society, we're just always on the move. They're showing me, actually, they're showing me like a picture of Delhi, where you see all of, I've never been there, but we've all seen those pictures of all the cars and buses, and, you know, they're all like so busy in this little compact place. This is kind of the way we've all been. And now to see, they're showing me images of Paris, they're showing me images of Delhi, they're showing me images of Manhattan streets with absolutely nobody there. Everybody is cleared out. Where have they gone? They've all gone within. That's the message. We're all going within. We are going back to our homes, back to our roots, back to our soul. And that's the place to always connect with. Always know that you have that ability to do that at any given moment in time. Again, because of the virus, it's forced this lesson, it's driven this lesson home, but we know that because of this experience, because it has kind of shattered everything that we've known thus far, everything that we have felt comfortable with, everything that we has known to be normal and natural and part of our everyday environment and life is now being shattered, is now being screeched. They're showing me like the guy coming into home base and just like screech into the halt. We had to just like halt, and we just had to stop, and now we have to go within. This is something that I know my guides for me have often told me when I do individual readings, is to meditate. What do we do when we meditate? We go to a different place. We're actually trying to vibrate our energy even higher. This is a time to do that collectively, to vibrate the energy even higher for the greatest good of all the world. We are walking now on the earthly plane. They're showing me that each of us had made a sacred contract to come here at this point in time. So we were all very aware that we'd have to go through this experience. This is, they said, although people might not realize it or not embrace it up to this point, it is absolutely a golden experience opportunity that we've had. We've actually signed on the dotted line that we want to be here during this experience because we knew it was going to be tremendous growth. It's going to be an explosion of growth into insights, into new way of life, a new way of looking at things. After we come out of this, we will blossom out of it as a new society, as a new generation, as we go on to tell these stories to the future. We will definitely remember that this was an opportunity that no one has had in the past. Think about it, and no one will have in the future state, because we will have come to, they're showing me now an absolutely beautiful rainbow. That at the end of this rainbow, there is a pot of gold, but not, we're not going to all get rich. See, this is where they make me laugh. It's not that at all, but they're just showing the imagery of at the end of this rainbow that will be able to just be walking into a new way of life, a new way of looking at things. They're saying just even now, think of the experiences that when you do go out, even though you have the mask on, you're looking at people's eyes, you're establishing that eye contact, the soul contact that's established between two people, and how joyous and grateful you feel for a neighbor to wave hi or say hello when you're going out for a walk right now, or you're on your bicycle, or you have the opportunity to connect by phone. The joy that we feel is overwhelming because we don't have it every day anymore. We long for it, don't we? And so because of that, this will carry us forward into our new way of life. Let me see what else we're saying. When? Okay, yes, that's true. They're saying as teachers, they're going to want to know when is this going to come to pass. So they're saying it's really important to understand. I don't think this is a word. Viremology, but I think what they're trying to say is just understand the virology around, okay, they're simplifying for me, the virus, understand the virus. And so to understand the virus, we have to know that there will be a great impact. There will be a grave impact. There will be a lot of loss of lives that will continue. That will be really important to heed the warnings of the scientists, to heed the warnings of the epidemiologists, and to listen to the instructions. We often, they're showing me the actual visual of taking the instructions out of a package, and most people will either like scan through them really quickly and throw them away, or most people will just take it out of the package and just try to do it on their own without even stopping and heeding the directions. This is a time too where we have to heed the advice and directions of the seniors, of the people that have they're showing me scientists now around test tubes, and those people that are really driving home what we need to do right now to get beyond this. We will get beyond it. But it's really important to understand, to respect the virus because it is very powerful. It's extremely contagious. All the things that we know, but they're kind of driving home the point that it will continue to affect and infect a multitude of people. The key here is going to be for the development of the vaccine. They're showing me like little children rolling up their sleeves. Again, I think this is more symbolic than anything else, and just getting the vaccine, that will be important, because once that happens, we'll have a renewedness. We'll be able to really start to venture out. I see people starting to venture out after that time with more of a sense of safety. They said the antibody testing too will be very important, because once people kind of get that, what's the card you get in Monopoly, like the go back to home, like the pass card. They're showing me once you kind of know that, okay, I am safe, I'm immune, either by the vaccine or by having had the antibody test results come back positive, and at that point in time, you're going to feel a new sense of relief to be able to go out and remingle in the society. So they're also saying to me collectively, for you as a group here on this call, that they're giving me this beautiful like net, but it's a real pretty one actually. It's like very sparkly as far as being iridescent, and it's just really holding all of us, and they're just saying we're in a safety net. They are sending us a lot of light and love. They appreciate the fact that we've connected with them. They've been open up to the experience of knowing and the knowledge to know that they are right there for us in any given moment, and that they're coming to really help to give you all inner peace, and an inner sense of knowing that all is well at all times. We're all here for the greatest good of each of ourselves and as collectively as a society and an environment. But they are letting you know that we will all be safe inside of our bubble, inside of this beautiful net they're surrounding us with. As long as we abide by and acknowledge and respect the virus and by the rules that have been set forth for us. So we're walking on a very kind of tenuous, kind of tentative kind of path right now, but do remember that beautiful rainbow, and there is light at the end of this tunnel. It'll be a more beautiful earth that we will be walking on because of this experience that we've all gone through. It really has been a gift. It's hard to understand that now, but they want you to know that it really is a gift. They're really showing me the most beautiful picture of which they often will show me to express what it's like there, and it's just an absolutely beautiful field, just of all these beautiful wildflowers and the sun coming and the clouds and a beautiful blue sky, and just relief, just like an awe, and we'll all get to that place. Okay, and so they're saying, you know, the why, when, and now the how. So they feel like they've kind of like jumped with me a little bit because they already have told you the how. It's really important to abide by the, you know, the rules that have been set forth for us. And if we do that, we're all going to stay in that safety net and all be very, very safe with inside our beautiful iridescent bubbles for right now. So just always know that you are safe.
That's wonderful, Mary Elizabeth. Thank you so much. And like I said, you know, I have had several readings from her, and they've been great guide points when I'm moving through, you know, questions in relationship, questions in home, questions, and, you know, which way do I go work-wise and stuff. So she's been very helpful. Oh, Margaret, thank you. Margaret just put her, that's brilliant. She put Mary Elizabeth's phone number in the chat box. So if you didn't get it, it's there. Go to chat, it's there. Thank you, Margaret. And if anybody is, you know, knows of anybody who would like to, you know, offer in a future Share Your Spark, the point of this now is becoming like sharing what other people are doing out there. If you know someone who's got a wellness business that you want to let people know about to help people through all this, to help their business, we want this to be a win-win, like help lift each other up. So if you know of anybody who would like to be scheduled for a Share the Spark, please let me know. If you didn't come to this event through my email address, mailing list, and you'd like to get on the mailing list to learn about future Share Your Sparks or other things, I'm going to follow Margaret's lead. I'm going to say it, but I'm also going to type it. Just email me at kristenorsinihealingarts@gmail.com with your name and email address, and I'll get you on the email list. That way you'll get all the updates. There's one thing I was going to say. What's the other thing I was going to say? Yeah, so if you want to do a Share Your Spark, you want to get on the mailing list, you have a number from Mary Elizabeth. I feel like there was one other thing I wanted to say.
Do you want to talk about next Thursday?
Yes, thank you. So next Thursday, Mary Elizabeth will be back with a different hat on. She's going to have her bakery hat on with her daughter, who is a chef. And, you know, they're going to be offering tips and tricks on, you know, how to work with what's in your pantry to make a nice meal, make a nice, you know, confection. Would you like to say something about what you're planning, Mary Elizabeth?
Yeah, no, Kristen reached out. That's exactly what we're going to be doing. Nicole is a very proficient chef. She's a professional chef. She's been doing this for many, many years. She is a fabulous speaker. She's very engaging. So come with your culinary questions. She'd be sure to help you out with them. So she'll, as Kristen said, share some recipes and some culinary tips about what to utilize in your pantry and how. And then I'm going to be taking it onto a baking segment, and I'll actually be demonstrating a recipe. So we're going to do it that way and share some recipes as well and things that I've been doing baking-wise during the quarantine.
So make sure you have a snack for yourself, because you will be salivating by the end of the thing. Make sure you have something to eat. But someday I hope you get to taste some of Mary Elizabeth's confections, because she's an incredible baker, and I'm so excited to meet Nicole. So, and let's see, Lisa says, thank you, Kristen, to arrange this. I would love to join more sessions, and gave me their email. Great. So stay in touch, everybody. Thank you so much, Mary Elizabeth.
Thank you.
I want to thank her spirit guides for being here.
Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Well, everyone, thank you so much. Stay in touch.